Welcome to the ThunderCast, your Marshall Athletics podcast produced by the fans, for the fans, with your hosts, Russ Livingood and KD Hugnall. We're bringing you the thundering word on the thundering herd each and every week, so keep it right here. The ThunderCast is on the loose. Thanks for downloading another episode of the ThunderCast. You can follow us on Twitter at ThunderCast_pod. You can watch the show on the ThunderCast YouTube channel and listen to the show on all major podcasting outlets, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify, among others. As you can see, it's not KD Hugnall and Russ Livingood today. It's KD and head coach for the Herd women's soccer team, Rafa Simoes, joining me. We're going to get a 2025 Herd women's soccer preview. We're going to dive a little deep into what went on between the end of last season and the offseason, recruiting, philosophy, the whole thing. I'm pumped to have a little bit of time with Coach Simoes. Coach, thanks for spending some time with me and helping me get Herd fans a little closer to your program.
I truly appreciated the invite. Like I said, I'm more than being out here with the program. I'm a listener as well, and just really glad to be part of the program,
Man, this is so cool. I mean, to know that we have coaches and some of our athletes that are listening to our show, that's really humbling for us because we say this all the time. We're just fans, man. We are two Herd fans that are fortunate enough to be in the spot we're in, and to know that folks that are leading our programs are listening, and we are helping keep you in the loop with Herd athletics. That's the whole goal. So we appreciate you listening. I'm really appreciative of you sitting down with me. And man, let's dive right in, right? Entering year number 2 as the head coach of Herd women's soccer, how would you describe the identity you're building for the program? What kind of playing style are the fans going to expect to see when they come inside the vet and watch your squad this year?
So, great question. I feel year one, we had made a foundation. Mm-hmm. So we had to build a foundation, something solid. Now we're building up. This is the 2.0 version we talk about of everything. So everything's been better. The coaches now is second year. The players is second year. Everybody's second year. Everybody's on the same page for 2 years now. So we're really excited. I feel the fans can expect something that we're going a little bit more offensive style this year. Of course, there's a lot of synergy with the men's soccer for what we do. Everybody knows I'm from Chris Grassi coaching 3. So my coaching philosophy and everything is very based on how he plays as well. So a lot of things they do on the men's, we try to do in the way that applies the correct way on the women's game. But I think the fans would really expect a better year, a more exciting style of play. And we hope last year we track more fans, and we hope to even get more fans this year as well by winning, because we know Huntington community, they're just waiting the program to show up and they always get our back. So, but I would call we're playing the game the right way, and it's a very exciting way to watch as well.
Well, that's refreshing to hear. I think for a lot of fans who might be on the fence about coming to check out a game or a couple of games, because we saw some real excitement build around the men's team with that smothering style of offensive play. They just would not be outpaced. And if you even bring a little bit of that to the table, I think fans are just going to eat it up. Like, they love that for some reason. I know the reason. It's exciting, right? It's exciting to watch. So put that in your hip pockets, Herd fans. Like, it's really an exciting environment as it is. I've gone to women's soccer games recently, and they were exciting. I got to tell you, they were a little bit more well attended than even I was expecting them to be. So I think you've got a pretty good base, and now it's just time to build on it, right? And how do we build on that? Well, you put a better team on the field, and a lot of that circles around recruiting. So let's talk about recruiting. It is a massively crucial part of the growth of a program. We all know that. So when you're evaluating potential student athletes, what specific traits are you looking for on and off the field? What stands out to you as a perfect fit for Marshall?
Now, that's a great question, because we try to recruit as much as we can, as many places as we can, because we said it's not about where they are, is who we find and if they fit what we're trying to do and if there's synergy in that. We're trying to each position is different. I have something that I call ticks. That is a method that I use. That's called technique, intelligence, character, and things that when I'm evaluating a player. And some players you check all the box quick. Some players check 2 boxes, and you're like, okay, is that what I really wanted? But I call ticks as an acronym, and every word there's a meaning. Like I said, T for technique, I for intelligence, and then under that there's aspects that I evaluate. So we have a path to analysis and there's steps. So if we like a player, can we watch them live? Can we watch a full game? And then can we get some recommendations? And then, as everybody does, but we have a very solid process. As I did, I tend to believe when I was with Chris, I was a good recruiter. Um, and I tend when the woman's one of my quads is recruiting. So I'm really excited. I've been blessed to get this opportunity where Marshall allowed me to recruit all across the world, and I have alumni and fans helping us as well with the fundraising and things. So I feel we've been able to go places and get the number ones, the number twos. Of course, I have to adjust when I got the job because the women's soccer is ahead the recruitment and the men's in theory. So like when I get the job in 25, all the good 25s, most of the 25s recruited were signed. So I knew I was 2 years behind under the American model. So I already came with a different vision of how we would fix that and how. And I think by 27 we should expect a better as well pool of American players because it's when I'm not late to the party. Because what happens to the party? Let's say, for example, when I got the job, 26 players for 26 were already committed. So imagine you go to the party and you just get what is left on the cake.
Yeah.
And so but you're coming late. So we have different strategies of how to fill those gaps quick. And I think my staff as well allowed us to do that. And the staff that hired us understood the vision. And I feel is year 2, where year 3 we should be picking. But why not year 2 already accelerated? So we've been trying as much as we can to aggregate and put a brick every day to make the program successful. But I feel recruiting has been a tremendous job. If you see last year we didn't have as many competition internally. This year in training, you have a lot of internal competition where now you got to manage the egos, but players disputing positions that last year would be very easy who would play. Now we got to go week by week. We got to go train by train. And I think that's how you build a team. The training environment got to be competitive.
Man, so it's easy for me to think in these terms of football, like most fans. So I'm trying to wrap my head around what you were talking about recruiting. And it's like, most in terms of football, it's like you're a college senior or whatever, you're going to commit to your team and then you're going to be there. So the way you're talking about it, it sounds like most stay strong in their commitment basically from their junior year. So you're 2 years out is what you're telling me?
You can do players can do verbally committed, and then NIL day, that is when they're calling and everything. And normally by the junior you're already committed, and by senior, no worry. But yes, so a lot of times, like I said, they go fast. And and then that's what I thought, okay, how are we going to keep progressing even though we're a little bit late to the party?
Wow. So you knew that coming in, no matter when you take a job, you're going to be late to that particular party.
Because it was hard for me because I did men's with Chris, then I went to women's soccer at Ohio, then women's soccer at Nova. Then I come back to Chris, men's soccer. So when I come back to women's soccer, it's not that I was active recruiting and the landscape of women's soccer was more on the men's side. So that was, if I was on the women's side, maybe if I went from Ohio to Marshall, would have been easy because I just carry my connections to that program. But I kind of was cold with those connections because you know how it is. A good connection, you need to be talking to them every day. You need to be visiting them. And I was not doing that until I came to be the head coach, to the women's side again. So that was another thing, but that's no excuse. Like recruiting, like I said, is if I had to put my quads, I think recruiting is one of them. And it's something that I really like to do, that I take joy and pride. And I feel we've been feeling with some great talents per se. We were able to bring Kaisa Ekstrom that had really good offers and ended up choosing Marshall. She's one of our captains this year for her senior year, right on the year 1. And she's a game changer for us. Like came right away, stepped in as a leader. So we always been able to recruit players that make impact right away as well.
Yeah. I by no means think that you were attempting to make an excuse. It's like adding context to how this game differs from what most fans are more familiar with college football recruiting, basketball recruiting. There's just more information out there. People are more used to that system. So to get some context, I mean, I follow recruiting pretty closely, but I had no idea that it was like this for soccer. So that helps me to understand and maybe have a little bit of extra patience in understanding the process of building a program. And I understand, like, yes, you went from the men's side to the women's side and back to the men's side. So yeah, like it kind of went cold for a minute. I get that. So, but let's talk about a little bit more about this particular class, because you did bring in some very, very impressive recruits this offseason. What you've talked about the competition in training, and and again, in football terms, to me, that means you've just added depth, and now everybody's vying for a position. So, what excites you the most about this group that you brought in, and how do you see them complementing that returning core of players?
I think the group know, because we tell all the time, and everybody that come to this group say the same thing. This group is special because there's not a lot of big egos. I think they put the team first, the we before the me, we tend to say. And I think that's awesome. Like, this group are never, like, they never broke our trust last year. They only be building up. In the spring, they grow. We went from a team that when I got the job, only one player, we have one player to play in the summer. And this year we have 92% of the team playing summer leagues.
Wow.
That is kind of like, that shows the interest in, like, I'm playing, training the whole, and the players that didn't play, they either had a really good training setup or they were injured. So that speaks volume. They were the whole summer training and playing. They didn't stop, and how much work they put on the spring. So I think this team is unique in the way how well they put the team interest before their interest. And even though you have players that are trying to go pro, you have players that want to play to be seen. You have players that are trying to come back to the youth national team, as Maria Chaves, that been called for Portugal and has massive competition here. So, like, you have all these egos, but that they never go above what the team needs. And them understanding, this week maybe this player's better than me, but next week or next training I'm going to be better. So that desire to grow and keep making internally competition, and hopefully training will be harder than the game. That's the environment we want to create,
Man, you're telling me all the right things. I got to be honest with you, because I don't know what I was expecting, but I think I wasn't expecting to hear the things I'm hearing, and it's pretty awesome. I didn't know where my baseline level of expectation or excitement level should be. And now, I mean, it's elevating as we're speaking in real time. I'm starting to gain expectations around this team to perform well, and I don't even know, what my expectations should be. But it's also not all about these fresh crop of new recruits, right? You got some returning star players that we have to talk about. There are some really, really good players that have been in this program for a number of years. And I want you to familiarize or refamiliarize some fans with some of those returning players that are going to play a big role for your herd.
Yeah, so, I mean, we have Bailey Fisher, local hero, I can say. She has the high school record of goals. Really working hard kid, never take a day off. I don't know, it's been probably 5 years that if we give a day off, she works at least 30 minutes. She have the rule that she at least work 30 minutes every day. So even if we give a day off, she'll give her pack of balls, go to the field and train. And she's a player that is so mentally focused, so hard driven. One of the best players ever worked. Like, don't talk much, just tell me what I need to do, and she get it done. Very set and go. And she does nursing on the side. So sometimes she does shifts of, I don't know, 10 hours, 12 hours, and she comes in the best in training. So, like, she's just a superwoman, and this type of players we want to create, not just girls that are going to succeed in the soccer environment, but they're going to be leaders or very strong females in their work environment as well. So Bailey is one of the players that we know anything that she will do, she will be an example, But she for sure is a player that we're going to miss. Today, last year, she was the flyer. Her face was in the flyer. They took it down to put the new one, and we gave her the flyer to put in her house, in her man's cave, woman's cave. We have Alexis Wogelmuth, that is just an impressive goalkeeper. Her mom played at the WNBA. When I got the job, she was a really good goalie with stats this year that she can break the clean sheets records for the program overall. But she was not good with her feet. in the spring. And we told her the way we play, we needed to be a little bit better with her feet. I don't know what she did in the summer, but she came hitting the ball like we never seen. And she's another one. She's a good at basketball. She's a good at tennis. She's good at pickleball. She's good at goalie. She might run an Ironman when she's done. She's doing undergrad plus masters in criminal justice. Like, she's just a phenomenal person. And everything you say, she'll make a plan and conquer. So Alexis is that player that is very obsessing conquering, and it's just so well to work with her, because of those players that you don't need to be motivating. You already know she's gonna, like, she don't need you to be constantly saying. She just tell me what I need to do, and is a player that I'm just proud to have players like her and Bailey in my team. We have Kaiser Ekstrom that have a lot of across the globe. We probably one of the players we really hope as well to send pro at the end of the season. She was playing Florida Tech. She had some really good offers. D1 decided to come here, became a captain right away by earning everything. She's a tall center back, very physical, very good on the ball, very good in the air. So is normally what you look on a center back when you're looking for a professional one. So she has all the attributes. She was playing with Jackson, with a team in Florida that's going to become pro this whole summer. So hopefully that was a good exposure for her. We have Luisa Travassos, play a Brazil under 23 national team, play a Fluminense, there's a big club in Brazil, and is one of our midfielders. She had a game against Coastal last year that came a lot of teams now have interest on her. She covered 14 kilometers. I think in miles would be 11 miles. And how much intense she covered the ground. So statistically, she put a statistic that is like more than a pro would do it in a game. So she's already having the numbers to show she can play at the intensity and cover the distance at the next level at the college. So she's a very interesting player as well that set the culture for the team. She was the only player playing summer. And now she set a tone, and all the players like, Luisa came really sharp. I want to play in the summer as well. I'm just trying to not forget anybody now, but top of my head. So let me look here real quick. Sorry.
We don't want to make anybody. We're like, look, we love all the herd, right?
It's like my wife. A lot of interviews I forgot to shout out to my wife Becca, so I'm trying to not forget about them as well. Yeah. We have Amy Komori. She's an amazing midfield. She's probably one of the most technical players we have. She's a classic number 10, which is extinct in soccer. So I really enjoy players like her because they're very rare to find in the market. She's from Japan. She just does. She's the one that sometimes she get me out of my chair. She's the one that when she get the ball, defense get up on the chair. Okay, something's coming, and you don't know what she's gonna do. And she pulls something that is just in the last second and very creative. So she's that player that I think brings fans to the stadium. We have Angel Fowler as well. There's a player that grows since she arrived from England. Another center back, can ping the ball anywhere, has the size, has this power. So we're really excited. We brought another seniors as well, like some grad students. So to bring a little bit more experience to the team. First year we brought a lot of players. This year we brought less, so we could be very methodical, if that's the right word, how you say it, or who we're bringing. So that was more precise. We need this, we need that, and we have more time to bring it and have a better selection. So I think this year was a more filtered and precise job for what we needed under our culture.
Yeah, I recognize some of those names, even as a casual fan. I told you this when we spoke initially back in April at the alumni banquet. I said, I have no idea what I'm looking at when I'm watching soccer. I just know that I think it's cool, right? I have no idea what the strategy. I don't know. You know, there was not soccer where I grew up, you know, up in the small town of West Virginia and down the road, you know, a little outside of Huntington, but it's pretty cool when it all just works. And I recognize some of those names. You know, even I have a nickname for Alexis Wolgemuth. I call her Fort Wolgemuth because, you know, she's like the brick wall there in protecting the goal. And I'm excited to have her back. I know that, you know, she was injured a little bit a little while back, and now fighting through that and working hard this summer and ready to really take her game to the next level. I'm excited for that. I think that's really pretty cool. And so now let's talk about what you were saying is the 2.0 version of this team. And even though it's 2.0, it's still a journey. You have a journey and you're on a journey. So what are some of those goals and expectations that you've laid out for the program this season as you continue to build your words, the strong foundation, and then find that sustained success?
Yeah, so I think the goal is you always do a pool with them and let them decide as well some things. But our goal is really clear: is win the conference, win the tournament, go to the national, and then start getting the tradition of going to national. Because I think the men's built something that when you start going every year, your shirts get a more traditional way. You're getting more used to the format. You get more used to the things like. But I think for us is really going to the Sun Belt. There is a really good conference with 14 teams, um, with amazing teams and really make an impact. Which last year we didn't make to the tournament, and that really hurt us. Like I could tell the team we felt we feel because that was one of the goals, and you want to achieve your goals, and you want to believe they're achievable. And we felt there was games that we couldn't manage it. There was points we dropped. There was games, like you said, that we had statistically 70% of ball, 20 shots, and we're doing one mistake, another team have one or two shots. But that's I say that's soccer. Like you got to put your chances. Like even though we dominate the game, you didn't finish the game, and we have these in 3-4 games that they cost us a lot and a lot of other aspects. But as a year one, I feel there was moments where me and the staff we look and we say we can put a format that we do well this year, but that don't help us build the culture that we want for other years. So there's a lot of times in the office that we were thinking, do we something to adapt to what we have and kill what we're trying to achieve in long term? And that's I think was a hard moment, but I decided to stay with what I believe and say because then they see it in the long term and we have the spring and we have the fall then to build again. So we stuck to what we believe it is the right way because I think you got to coach where you believe it. Because if I change it, then how I would convince them again that that was the right way. So I think that was a pivot moment, but having the athletics marshal understanding my vision and understanding that you don't build something from nothing that is brick by brick, like Roma's not building. And they help me as well because I'm young and I want everything now and I want to do the best now. They say, Rafa, like even Chris told me, like, Rafa, my first year at Marshall was negative. I had more loss than win, but it's like we didn't have a winning mentality. I didn't have the full recruited class by me. But he said, by the year 3, I stick it to what I believe in. And by year 3, and I have a fully recruited class by me, the first year we won the conference. But that was year 3. He said, my first 2 years are negative. And that's one of the best coaches in the country telling me. So I have to really listen to him, Dad. But why not be great now? Why not try your best now? You know what I'm saying? I have been in so seasons, and I told the players the worst feeling is when you finish like I could have done this, I could have done that. I always tell them, let's do the best with what we have now. Maybe later when you make an evaluation, I could have done this, that. But you got to believe that you're doing your best with the tools you have at the moment, and that's how we're taking this. And I think we really did well in the summer and making things simple and really having every step ahead of the curve we could. And I'm really proud of the staff. I think staff rotation is big in college athletics. So being able to retain my associate head coach, being able to retain my assistant coach, be able to have a big rotation, I think later you collect good things from it. Because I think in athletics, the world is very constantly changing. And I think I believe, and I was reading about that as well, when you keep a staff for 3 years, that's the challenge. And you can keep a staff for 3 years, you collect really good things about it. And I can feel the difference this year as well. Like everything we're going to see, we're already in the same sync, which last year we're kind of like still getting some things.
Yeah. It sounds like the continuity is there. It's no longer a question. You've already felt each other out. You know what, at this point, probably what each other is thinking without saying it. And it's all those intangibles that only come with experience and spending those hours upon hours together on the fields and in the film rooms and in the locker rooms. But personally, you've coached all over. We talked about this a little bit before we started the show, but you've coached all over at some really high levels. How have those experiences shaped your personal coaching philosophy? I mean, here at Marshall, we know the ties are strong, right? But how have your experiences shaped your coaching philosophy, and in particularly how you develop players?
Yeah, so I'm a player-centered coach philosophy. So if I put the players the center because they're the one playing. I was fortunate enough to have some really good players like Pedro Dolabella, that was a captain, but he served as a servant leadership. He'll be that guy that you go in the locker room, he's vacant in the locker room and nobody asks it. He's that player you need a player like, can somebody pick this player at the airport? He will do it. And he was the first captain we ever seen that was voted by all players to be a captain that we ever had. So every player said, this guy going to be the captain because he works on the field, he does everything, he does every community service. And we got from guys like Matthew Bell that was doing something on the field that I didn't see the pros doing. The kid was just special, you know. But then it was a lot of things that you had to help the kid as well and keep motivating. And I think one thing I learned is humans are creatures of will. Like they all, even if the guy that got the big house, you need something to chase. So I think once you have a very defined culture, very defined core values and philosophy, and the goals are achievable and they can conquer and go to the next, if you can make them feel they achieve the goal, and then what is next is how you keep building them and motivate them. Like now, like with the men's, we were in a point where in 4 years we'd send 5 players per year to the pro. So it's 20 players in 4 years. But when you think 11 players start, 5 are going, you can say Marshall, half of the team, the Marshall is going pro. Yeah, that's an unbelievable statistically. But when we got the job, we didn't have that. But that was something you're building with the team doing well. Because when the team do well, then the individual do well, and then you gotta show how the collective brings the team as well. And when you play big stages, more people is seeing, and then you go from there. But I feel right now like we came from an amazing spring when we were undefeated with this team. We didn't concede a goal home. We couldn't score many goals. We scored a lot of goals on the spring, and we finished tying WVU there, which I think kind of fermented when they come here for us in later. But I think this team now, they're very hungry. Their goal is to be the best team ever have, and building from that. And we use a lot of the history in the previous stats to show how we're going the right way, and how it's not good to say I was part of this beginning of Marshall that become this powerhouse. So they're trying to build foundations and build layers. So for the next to come, keep building as well, and we go achieve heights that we never dream of, or this program never had it before.
Man, so I love the player centric focus, right? And a big aspect of that, to me, at least from the outside looking in, has to be the team culture that you build and those players build. You can try to put together a framework, but ultimately it feels like the team has to build that culture. They are the ones that have to come together. And we know across all sports that team culture can be a game changer, a program changer. It has to be, actually. So we've talked a little bit about the more intense training and how folks are competing more this year, and it's more intense. But how is that culture being fostered and in a connection with each other, the connection with the city of Huntington? Like, there's a lot of international flavor on this team, and here we are in a small-ish city in the Appalachian Mountains in West Virginia. How is that team culture fostering within each other in the locker room, and also within the city of Huntington, as all these players integrate into your system?
Yeah, so we have a very diverse culture in the team, and a lot of different language, different culture backgrounds, and how you mix 28 individuals to speak one language and be in the same direction. We've been blessed to have many fans that always provide us, per se. The whole team today went and watched the Marshall movie, and one of the fans make a beautiful host, open their house, make a nice dinner for the team, and show them around Huntington. So we've been very blessed with the community of helping our players and getting them, like on Thanksgiving, to embrace the culture, getting them on every holidays, getting them. It's just like, I cannot be more glad. And I think everything around Huntington is exciting now. You look, Brad Smith, always aiming excellence and is improving everything. And you look at the business school that we have right now, and you start looking everywhere at Huntington and how Brad Smith is putting together, and it's just an exciting part. Like I feel honored to work for an institution like that. And I think that helps as well when the players see that it's not just the team, and then we are one door away from a program that was number 2 in the country that just lost in the national final, that aspire as well. They just finishing training and we're coming, and you say that team is the number 2 in the country and almost put a second star, and you have the same facilities as them. Yeah, you have a coach that was there that is coaching you now. So I think everything is assembling growing, everything is aiming excellence, and everything is a very positive environment, and it's something excited, like to work with. And I feel that's clear as well. But that is, like I said, all the aspects of university helps that a lot. We have international office that is amazing to our students. We have so many resources. Like I have a teacher that speaks Japanese that helps to make food sometimes for Emi Komori, because culinary Japanese is very different, and their culture I learned from Emi in so many aspects. So I feel Huntington as well, like they wanted the players to join the community, and like we go to schools, we go to club soccers, we do free clinics, and we want more. Year one, I didn't have the time that I wanted. Now the things are getting built, and I have even more time to like I was really trying to build the team and put things together. I feel now with things being more stylized, we have more opportunities to get a community. But that's, if you're at Marshall, you're part of, like, you gotta feel close to them. If something is inevitable. Like I go play soccer indoors sometimes because it's my how I clear my head. They say, Rafa, I used to only buy the men's tickets, not buying the tickets for the women's soccer. I go to church at St. Joe's, and then we go to restaurants, and they want to know, hey coach, how's the team, how's the girls, let me know what their need. They worry about that. It's not that in a big city like you go to a restaurant. It's how I say that all the time. When I was in Fort Lauderdale, I feel everything was more transactional, and I feel in Huntington is real connections. Like you go to a restaurant, the owner will talk to you, ask how are your day. You actually, like, it's a different tempo than a big city, and I love that. I don't see myself coming back to the other environment as I see now with that environment in Huntington, and this whole community embracing the teams there, which is amazing.
Well, that's been the calling card of Huntington for a long time. Like, these people feel connected to Marshall University, and as the years tick away, it doesn't matter. It's always the next freshman class, the senior class. They feel like one big family, and that I mentioned this. It's one of the hardest things to have to leave when you move away is you leave the family. And now I'm looking from afar, and I'm talking to people, like this instead of face to face, and that's tough. Once you're in the Marshall family, you're in it forever, and it's hard to be distant from it. I'll be honest.
And another thing I'll add to you that I gotta thank the fans as well, and I'm not gonna mention names, but like we have players that could have gone with all this NIL and portal thing and get more money, get more things, but they decided to stay and be loyal to Huntington because they like here, because they feel I need to do one more year. Like I didn't give back to the community, and I'm really glad. And I think we'll only be able to do that because of the community showing is a different place and its real connections. I don't think we could have done it and keep players. And of course, that goes as well to the players buying to the court and be loyal. But I think that comes as well. They feel it in a place where it's their second home or something like that. And our girls, we joke, the girls like to be called girls from Huntington. Like it's something we say the girls from Huntington, but we say with pride, like, because what we make here is different. So that's just something I want to add to the question. Sorry.
So I want to emphasize that, because you use the word loyalty a number of times, and I've seen a lot of fans on social media, and that's one of their biggest gripes is that, when you talk about other sports and the big NIL dollar figures that get thrown out there, people are like, I don't know, the whole half of the 2/3 of the roster has turned over. I don't know these folks. So that's another great reason to invest in women's soccer, because those players are being loyal to this community. They're being loyal to that university, or this university, and to the fan base. And for $30, I think it might be, you can get a season ticket. I mean, that's got to be one of the best deals in town, right? So if you're big on loyalty and you think it doesn't exist in the world anymore, or at least in the collegiate athletics world, well, you don't really have to go any farther than Marshall women's soccer at the very least, because right straight from the head coach, he's telling you there's players that could have left. They chose to stay. And if that doesn't garner some support from you, it should, especially for the bargain price of $30 a season ticket.
Yeah, I think it's $40 for 9 games, and that includes the WVU game.
Wow.
So it's $40 for 9 games. And if you're a family of 3 or more, like a family of 4, $20. So you spend $100 for 4 people, like for 9 games.
Yeah.
So we try to make a really good deal because we want the community to be there and support us. And we didn't want the price to be something that would keep them away as well.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not exclusive. That's an inclusive price point for just about everybody, if not everybody, in and around Huntington for something that's really entertaining. I mean, it's a lot of fun. Russ and I have talked about many times, like we've gone to volleyball matches and they're fun. They're just very energetic. And, and I've been to women's soccer matches and they were fun. And you mentioned just a second ago, 9 home games, including WVU. So for the first time since, the late 1900s, WVU is going to be coming to Huntington to face the Herd in a women's soccer match. And that game's going to go down on Thursday, September 11th at 7 p.m. And I know that's a big one. You look up and down the schedule, there's a lot of opportunities for you to showcase your talents and win a lot of matches. Like that kind of goes without saying. But I know we want to hit this game really hard because there's some other special things that are going along with that. And I want you to expand on that. I want you to get the word out for what you're trying to do with this game on a Thursday night.
Yeah, so first of all, cheers to Coach Easy at WVU. She's a legend there. She's been amazing. And since 1999, that's when my young brother was born. I joke, when you were born, that was the last time WVU playing Huntington. So since 1999, we didn't play. When we get a job, like I see the men's playing WVU Kentucky, and let's be honest, one of the biggest games in men's college soccer is WVU and Marshall.
It is.
And when they clashed at the final of the Sun Belt, that was probably the biggest game of the year. And it was amazing. When we go there, I remember we lost that game and we were undefeated 11 games, but the atmosphere was so nice. Like you kind of, as a coach, you're like, I always want to go to Pack Arena and have that feeling. And like, I want to have that again, that adrenaline that you had at the moment. And that makes, when we go there, when they come to us, we pack as well, and vice versa. So part of when I got the job is like, I want to play WVU. I understand at the time they were ahead of us, but like, we're the only D1 schools in the state. And
correct.
So she gladly accepted, and we make a home series where we went to her on spring, she went to us on fall, she come back to us on spring, and next fall we go to them. And it's a spring home series and a fall home series, and I love it. And the goal is later do that with Ohio State. The goal is to do that with Kentucky, because if you want to be a big program, you want to be playing with those teams, and that's what the fans want to watch. Let's be honest. Of course, there's the other games, and you win, you bring traction, but WVU and Marshall is something everybody gets excited just to talk about. Another thing, a lot of people call me crazy to not sell that game differently. And I say, no, I want to be part of the package. I want to be cheap. But I tell people, buy, because the seats are not seated. It's not sections like the men's is open. Like you buy a ticket and you guarantee yours. So I tell people, like, go buy, because for $40, you guarantee your ticket for WVU. Because I know when it's go 2 weeks a week, everybody be text, coach, where do I buy tickets? So I'm trying to promote as much as I can this time. I know we have multiple people coming from different states, scouts, everything. So I'm just excited for this game. I think it's going to be the biggest game, women's soccer and ESPN Plus that day. And I think is a good thing for our program. Is like the programs, games like that you wanted to play. And I have a lot of respect for them on their side as well.
Well, I think everybody kind of likes it. Football kind of ruins it for a lot of people. A lot of people want them to play. A lot of people don't want them to play because of the environment is just different. But I don't think you can argue with the environment that's in place when you're talking about men's soccer. Those matches matter to us as much as they matter to that fan base, as much as it matters on the national scale. It matters. That game just means something. And if we can get something like that going on the women's side of things, I think it can only help. It can only help. And I agree with what you're saying. If you want to be a big time program, you've got to play big time programs. And it doesn't hurt that there are successful ones that are within a couple of hours away from where we are, right? That only helps your program grow. But I know this one in particular, and I'm glad you stood up and said, no, I want this game included in our season ticket package. We did that a couple of years ago when they did baseball season tickets, and they sold the West Virginia game separately. And that had me feeling some type of way about it. I thought that was not the coolest move to do. So the fact that you stood up and said, no, this should be part of our season ticket package. I want it to be part of our season ticket package. That goes a long way with me as a fan, because that tells me that you get it from a fan viewpoint, right? That's a value you gave me. And it was not provided in another sport a couple of years ago. I heard tell that we're trying to set an attendance record at the vet for a women's soccer match with this game. Can you expand on that a little bit?
So I could be a little bit off on the number, but if I'm correctly from what my stats people pass me, the biggest crowd for a women's soccer game is 1440 or something close to it, and we expect to have 3,000 at the night. So we're going to double the crowd record, and that's the expectation we have for this game. So if you're watching this podcast and you can share if you're Herd fans, we want to make Kelly Green night. So we're going to be giving shirts and ask everybody to come in Kelly Green, so the whole crowd is Kelly Green, and we want to do that big game for the state of West Virginia and develop the soccer into the women's in the state of West Virginia as well. So I think this game, like I said, is a very exciting game. We have other games in the season as well, but I think if you're a Herd fan and you're planning to watch one, I highly encourage you to watch this one. But we're going to have other games like the Sun Belt games, the senior night, and very other really big games as well that I hope you like. We have ODU coming. There's a really good opponent, and Angie's the head coach there. Does a phenomenal job, and other good games. But it's hardest to say that the biggest one that we expect to be is WVU.
Yeah, I think you might have more than a puncher's chance of setting an attendance record for that one, especially if everybody kind of gets behind it and the word gets out there and people are like, all right, I'll buy, I'll go. This will be a fun time. It will be a good atmosphere. And the more people that go, the better the atmosphere is going to be. And you better be turned out in Kelly Green. You might as well have a sea of Kelly Green at the vet. I mean, why not, right? But you're right. There are some opportunities. I saw Ohio University, I believe, is on the schedule this year, another historic rival of Marshall across all sports. So you're going to have a battle for the bell women's soccer edition this year. So, and big Sun Belt games, of course, James Madison's obviously going to be on the schedule. So you get to run the gauntlet. You get to play some of those old Southern Conference rivals like Appalachian State, Georgia Southern, those kind of games. So there's a lot of opportunity to come to the vet and see this Herd women's soccer team version 2.0 over under Coach Rafa Simoes. Rafa, this has been great conversation, man. I really appreciate you peeling back the curtain a little bit and talking about your program. I hope that we can motivate some people to click the links for the ticket office and buy tickets for that game, maybe even secure some season tickets. I mean, if I heard you right earlier, if you buy 4, they drop to $20 a piece. Is that what you said?
$25 a piece for a family.
Okay.
So like
$100 for 4.
A husband and wife and 2 kids, they'll pay $100 total for tickets for the whole season at the home games.
Yeah,
they have 9 games, so 4 tickets for 9 games for $100. So that's what we're saying. We're trying to keep it the best as we can to bring the community and show we care about them. Another thing that I must say, just because we're talking about the games, this Saturday we have the only doubleheader with women's and men's soccer on the same day. So at 4 p.m. we play U Pike, and then at 7 p.m. the men's play Villanova, and in between we're doing party on the plaza. So it's going to have food trucks, things for the kids to play. The women's soccer going to do autographs. So you watch the women's soccer, you stay, you have like good food, you have good things for your kids, and then you go watch the men's soccer, play Villanova, and then all that in from 4 to 9 p.m. On Saturday. So the only doubleheader of the year. I know this might come up only later, but it's this Saturday, the only doubleheader of the year for soccer.
Yeah, Russ talked about. I believe we talked about on the last episode with Party on the Plaza and everything. So we were trying to get the word out on that too. We'd like everybody to make a day out of it with Herd men's and women's soccer. Just hang out around downtown and catch some great soccer, eat some good food, and just make a day out of it with your fellow Herd fans. I mean, heck, be out there tailgating. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But I got to thank you again. I appreciate you spending some time with me. This was an excellent conversation. I'd love to do it again anytime that we can do anything to help to grow your program or support your program. We at the Thundercast want to do that because you guys matter just as much as every other sport. You matter to us, and we want to get as many butts in as many seats as we possibly can at the vet. Thank you so much for previewing the 2025 Herd. Guys, that's it for this one. I'm ready to run through a brick wall for Coach Simoes. I don't know about you guys. I'm feeling pretty good about this season. My expectation level is coming off the charts. But whether you see us around the Jack, whether you see us around the Joan, or whether you see us down at the vet, no matter where you see us, we're going to be saying, go Herd. Until next week, we'll see you later.